Hello, hello. Happy Thursday if you're watching this live. Today we discovered a cool thing, an interesting thing. We found that I'm gonna take these off because I don't need to listen to music. We found that it is fun to take turns. Previously, the last few builds, we've had every player in this multiplayer game launching at once, and it was kind of the idea that like we didn't want to have to wait around, and we wanted the kind of chaos, and that all made a lot of sense, especially since the previous design iterations. It was really tedious waiting for people because you were planning your heist, you were talking through things, and like sequence and timing was super duper important, which fit the theme of a heist really well, but it wasn't fun. So kind of swung the pendulum the opposite way, and went everyone just go 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 go. Today we had an internal play test and found that if we just like kind of, decided, even though the logic wasn't built in, that like one person can go, and when they're done, the next person can go. We engaged a lot more, and being that this is supposed to be kind of a party game, that was important. So the thing we aren't 100% sure on is how many people should go at once. So when everyone's going at once, we were playing with 6 people, you just don't really interact. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and then it's over. You're watching your own character. You don't really care about the other characters too much. We found when one person's going, then you really are paying attention, and you're saying, "Hey, try this. Hey, maybe go there," and you feel important because people are watching you go. It might be interesting if 2 people went at the same time. We did try another option where all 6 or however many players you have, they all get one move. They all get to like throw one raccoon, and then you can't throw your second raccoon until everyone went. That was like a little better than you getting as many as fast as you want, but it still had that problem of like people just weren't really talking. And so yeah, I think right now we're between a single person launches or 2 people launch. And maybe if it's 2 people, maybe we have teams. I always forget to open my stream avatars, even though I totally set up like a 5-minute timer to kick things off, which gives me plenty of time to do it. But yeah, like, so maybe because we have these 2 spawn points, maybe it's like 2 rival crews, and like they're both trying to perform the heist. And that could be interesting. Some competition is good. Right now, there is the idea of competition that you have your own score. You have a cumulative score, which we display here, but you have a hidden personal score that at the very end of the game, we would declare who like the actual winner is. But yeah, so today, the big task that we're going to be tackling is how do we get, not how, because I know how, but today we're going to be setting up the concept of turns and game flow. At one point, I had a game flow in, and it was like, all right, everyone make your move, and there's a timer, and then when the timer expired, it forced the game to do the next round of things. But it turned out that design wasn't good, and so we just turned off that whole sequence. And now we have a new design, so we're going to need a new sequence and a new way of ordering players, deciding who gets to go next, setting up the UI to make it clear whose turn it is. We need to block out the UI for players who aren't allowed to move, so they don't move when it's not their turn. So yeah, that is what we are going to work on today. I will be right back while I let the dog go out. Be right back. All right. Oh, habit. I put these headphones on, but that's because I'm used to listening to music while I work. But I haven't quite gotten the multitasking down to where I can talk about what I'm doing and do it and listen to music. For some reason, that's just a little too much noise and stuff. Okay, so let's set up turns and the concept of turns. Both the mobile device and the host need to be aware of turns. I think I want the host's screen, the kind of main game screen here, to kind of be the source of truth that will kind of lead the charge here. And I think at one point, I might have deleted it, we had a turn manager. Yeah, I think I got rid of it, which might be for the best because it was very different. But I don't know. Let me see. Okay, we have turn manager. Let's see what's in this script. Maybe we can kind of refactor it to work with our new needs. Okay. So looking through here, we have a lot of things. Color ID bar, like we don't really need that, I don't think. Turn panel. So okay, so turn panel could be what pops up, but here's the thing. That would be on the player screen, not the host. So I'm looking through here to see where we're tracking things. Yeah, I don't like this. This is like an old way I used to do things, so that's not ideal. I think we might just totally scrap this. Yeah, let's scrap it, and we'll keep the name because turn manager feels like the right name for this. Because yeah, even here we had like all these colors, and that doesn't make sense anymore. So we're gonna just tear this thing apart and we'll get rid of everything inside of it. Start from scratch. Just keep the class name because I like that class name. All right, so what do we want in our turn manager? This is going to live on the host screen, so we don't need things that will like cover the screen, but we probably do want some text that like tells the players whose turn it is. So turn, we'll be very literal, whose turn is it text. So we'll have that, and we should make that public so we can assign it. Actually, we don't technically need it public. We just need it accessible through the inspector. So make a serialized field. And then after that, we probably need some kind of state machine. Now, we had another script at some point that was called like game loop or something, if I remember right. Maybe not. Because there was a script that was like playing the VO and stuff. Basically, we need a state machine. And I would hate to already have a state machine called like gameplay states or something. And then have it twice. Because that would get messy. Let me look again real quick here to see if it exists. Game state manager. That's what it was called. So this is probably closer to what we want to use. So here we can see we have game states. UI elements, audio clips. Yeah, so let's leave the turn manager alone for now. In fact, we'll even delete that. This should probably need to be renamed to be more clear that it's for the player. But game state manager is going to be good. So yeah, we should probably have a level initialization phase. That's when you first load up. This is called mastermind planning. I'm thinking I'm trying to think of how many states you really need. It's really more about just tracking whose turn is it. So level init is going to be like just basic level setup, and then it's going to be, you know, the heist takes place. We don't have anything called path drawing anymore, or the concept of playing back. But maybe even mastermind planning. There is no planning phase, so to speak. Because init could tell you, hey, everyone, get ready, and it could start to like prep you. We could get that feedback from the game. Could even tell you how to play, and then I guess we could just say heist heist. We'll just call it heist. I guess heist level init. Heist, it feels like heist event or something, but event's like a very specific word that we probably don't want to use there. We'll call it heist. That's going to break our state references because we have all this other stuff. So let's change this to heist. And then we don't have path drawing. We don't have playing back. And then we have win evaluation. Cool. Then down here, we got some more stuff we don't want. So this should go to heist. And then heist would go to win evaluation. I feel very like whistly today when I'm talking, which is really weird. Like I have a gap in my tooth or something. It's very weird. Like all my S's are very, very whistly today. Okay, so we don't need these at all. A 3-state machine. We can come back and add more later. Okay, let's check what other values we have. Again, we're just trying to recycle this script to be useful and not start from scratch, because we still want this concept, the game state manager, but now it's going to be managing turns instead of this whole drawing phase that used to be in the game. State fill meter, yeah. I mean, that's all good stuff. Audio clips. Yeah, that all seems good. I will have to make sure that the correct VOs are assigned, because those are different now. Let's rename this, so mastermind planning duration. We probably need something now like player turn duration. And we would have to know if the players are all done. 20 seconds might be a little long for a turn. We'll try 15. Keep the game moving. There is no path drawing. There is no playback. It looks like we are manually assigning players in the game, which we cannot do anymore. So I'm going to make this private, which will point out where in the script I need to fix. Actually, I don't know if it will. So hopefully you can remember to come back to that. Also, let me just put some to-dos. We need to track what player is currently up, and then track what player, or track if any players still have raccoons to launch. And then here we need to do make sure we assign players. Oh, cool. The win object, that will be helpful. Right now, that is this weird little flag-looking thing in the bottom corner. Okay, so players, win object, the current state, sure, state duration, audio source. Cool. That's good. Cool. We do audio source. That's useful. We start and leveling it. That's great. And then we launch the first instruction. Okay. Yeah, that seems all solid there. We will need new instructions because I did some that were the previous game design. And the moment we set level init, this is what gets called and it pops into here. So we instruction text, we'll say getting level set up. And then now we're in the heist, we should say something like player X is up or something like that. Thinking through this because we're going to need VO for each player. So maybe this state has like an intro. Getting levels set up. Players get ready. See, I don't like this because this is going to stay up during the whole state. So we don't want them to get ready the whole time. It's like that's going to be up while they're actively playing. Instruction.text. What should that say? I mean, what it is like players take turns. Set your raccoons to work. Sure. And then the duration is going to be heist duration. I think that's still a thing. Player turn duration. So here's the tricky thing, because what'll happen is after 20 seconds, it's going to go to win evaluation, which is not really what we want. Because that state duration does not necessarily apply. So we're probably going to have to make an exception here to where, yeah, see, this is too bad because this is like a nice, clean, consistent path. The other way we could do is we could do, there's a state for each player, you know, so there's like 8 states. Don't really like that either. And then also would mean it loops back and how many times does it loop back. So I don't love that. I think that's okay. So what we can do is we can just say player turn duration. Where are you referenced? Oh, state duration. That's what I wanted. Okay, so in the state routine, this is where we are. See, this is interesting. Check if players are done moving. But this, yeah, lapse time to state duration. So once that's over, we would then be going on to win condition. But what we can probably do. Oh, I see. So we can actually end this early. Yeah, there's going to be a lot that has to change here. So this would be to do mobile. Yeah, actually, to that point, when you launch your character, I don't feel like immediately we want to give the other person control. Because I think it's like we want to all be watching and you don't want to be distracted by like, oh, it's my turn, I can start going. So I think there almost has to be, like from the moment you launch, there is some buffer time. So to do after player launches, switch to, should be a new timer. Like, let's say you have like 3 seconds left in your turn and you're like, all right, I'm launching now. Do we wait 3 more seconds? Do we wait more than that? Because 3 seconds isn't long enough to really see the results. But it's also kind of weird to see another fill meter. So I don't think we have any visible information about when we're going to stop watching this player. I think we have a few things we can check for. Switch to, so what we need to do here, it's probably in this. So after player launches, switch to a different method checking that isn't state duration. We instead wait X seconds to watch the results. This should end early if the player completes an objective or falls off or enters kill zone. Okay. That's going to get a little more complicated with the mini games, because if you get into an objective and you're almost out of time, you almost kind of want to wait for that person, and each mini game is going to have its own little brief timer. But we can come back to that. Okay. So going back here, set your raccoons to work. We set the player duration. And then, yeah, we're going through the state routine. We're checking if it's past the state duration, so 20 seconds. Right now, check if players are done moving. We're just going to comment that out because this is not going to be the way we do it. That's that to do there. So we're going to slowly increasing time. And then, but after that, we hide UI elements before transition. Okay, so this keeps going until that happens. So now after it's finished, we need like a value to track what player we're on. So what would be a good place to put that? Let's put it here. Int player, say active turn player. Make that private. Okay, so now we have active turn player. Now this needs to iterate through. This doesn't mean like player 1 is always going to get to go first, but that's fine. Where were we putting this? Here. So every time that finishes, we will say boom. Actually, we need to make sure it's less than if active turn player is less than players dot count dot length. And I think length uses it counts the 0 index, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so as long as their active player is less than the number of players in the game, then we will active turn player increments. Else, we would say active turn player equals 1. There is a thing where all the actors, because actually technically host is 1, and host is this screen that's displaying that. And so technically player 1 is 2, which makes this a little tricky. We can convert this later though. I think this is just tracking, like, it's the first player's turn, not necessarily player ID 1. So we'll just have to make sure we remember that differentiator. Okay. It should be, if it's less than, yeah, no, that should be right. Okay, it goes back to 1. We do need to make sure we get all the players, because right now this is totally empty. We should do it on here. Actually, I don't know how I want to get the players, because right now the first time we did this, all the players just existed in the scene. Now I can search for them by this component. My concern is a race condition. So I think by the time we get into, oh, and they're spawning in. So like when you have not yet spawned, this does not exist. Like there is no game object with this script on it. Oops, need to be on the screen. Yeah, there's no game object with this script on it. So we would need to do this differently. I think what we're going to need to do is, like, as we are spawning players in, we are adding them to this. No, it's not going to work, because, yeah, you don't spawn until you actually make your first move. But there are player IDs that come in with no avatar attached to them. So let's see, how do we use this? It's based on player length. We could probably get something besides player length there. We could probably get, it's probably like a quantum helper. Let's see, quantum helper players. So get local player, owning player, count. Is there anything, any concept of count? To current game. That sometimes gives us more options. Player. So get local players, but it's a local. No such luck. I feel like I stored all the players somewhere, and I'm trying to remember where that was. Let's just search for players and see if we get lucky. So for all in this script, which is an old script that doesn't have the right concept. You know what, but there is, hold on, there is a, I'm trying to remember where it was. There is a place where we actually were capturing everyone who came in, and it was, here we go. No, not spawn a new player. It was like a naming script I had at one point. Let me see if I can find it. Looking over through all these scripts. Okay, I think it might be player loaded into game. Just taking its sweet time to compile. Jeez, it is like really going slow. Okay. So yeah, on player loaded into game. This. So this is, well, this would have been on a script in the, let's see if it still is, in the player game scene. Sweet. Okay, so yeah, so this script is here. So whenever, oops, I did not want to open it again. My computer's running slow tonight. Wait, actually, did that look different? What was that? Oh, no, it's just because the window's smaller. So yeah, whenever a player loads in, we do call this command. And so we can track how many players are in there by listening to the event that this would call. Let's find the commands. Let's go. Actually, let's do it from here. Not properties. Okay, so it looks like it. What was the name of the command? I already forgot. Let's see. The command was player loaded into game. So if we find that command, player move. There we go. Player loaded into game. All right, so it looks like this calls an event on player loaded into game. So hopefully, if this is working right, it should call the only once per new player. So that means we could go back to our game manager. Let's close this. Heist minigame. No, not that one. Did I totally close it? Where is it hiding? There it is. Okay, so we can subscribe to this event. Do we not have on enable? We sure don't. Okay, so we need that, and we will pull this from here. I lost it. There we go. Let's pin this so it doesn't disappear on us again. Okay, so let's make on enable. And let's have it be this event. I forgot, but for some reason Unity wants it to say event before it, so that's fine. Okay. So now we can make a little function, private void, new player joined. So now we can say player, I don't even know if we're going to get players here. I'm starting to think we won't. But we could have an int that's like player count, maybe. Oh, actually, I like current turn player. That's like way better phrased. And then this would be total player count. Okay. So then whenever someone joins, we would go, yep. And then we need to fix this to be current. Player turn, current turn player. And then this won't be players.length. This would be total player count. Okay. Why are you upset about that? Oh, because that's there. Okay, so now we are hopefully properly tracking that. Oops, we need to put this here and put this event there and call it callback. And actually we don't really care yet about what it's calling back. We are just simply saying, hey, someone joined. We don't know anything about them, but someone is here. I think that will maybe change. Maybe we'll assign some other stuff, but for now, I think that's just fine. Okay, so back to where we were. We're going through the players. And then we have moved to next state. So this is where we would need to say if all other turns are complete. Let's say if current state, no, not current player turn. Current state equals, and we want this to be heist. On else, it's just going to do everything here. If it's a heist, though, we need to check if all players have used all their lives, which is going to be a little tricky because I don't think we have a global or really any reference anywhere to how many lives they have. So we may shortcut it for now and hard code it. And we would say if, maybe we call this round, current turn player, current round number maybe. And then we could have total number of rounds. What we probably want to do is have some kind of like game rules scriptable object that holds all this stuff. But so if current round is greater than or equal to total number of rounds, then we can do this. So basically it has a couple extra things. Maybe I make a little function that just says private void transition to next state. And then we can put all this here. Why did you like that? Oh, I was returning something? What was I returning? Oh, because it had the yield in there. Gotcha. Okay. I guess this can be... Sure. Okay, and then now we can do start coroutine. Try. Okay, something like that. So now we have basically, if we're in heist mode, we're gonna make sure that we're like done with all the rounds. Otherwise, we're not going to transition to the next state. But we do need to just kind of like start this state over, but with a new player. So I would say, for simplicity, maybe we'll just say iterate to next player's turn. And so if we are here, we would iterate to next player's turn. And I guess really, even if we're here, maybe we would pass the value in. Player who's up. And then that would just be current turn. I don't actually love this. This should only happen if we're in the heist state. So this should really come here. And since this happens no matter what, we should do this. And then that means we can simplify this. Now we don't actually want to iterate to the next player's turn if we don't have any turns left. So we would say if we are out of rounds, then we iterate to the next thing, but otherwise we go to the next player's turn. And then if it's not a high state, we just jump right to a new state. And I think actually I want to change the order of this. I think it'll look cleaner if we do that. So if the current number of rounds is less than the total rounds, we iterate to the next player, and then if not, we go elsewhere. Because that way we keep all the like turn stuff together. Okay. So then what happens when we're iterating to the next player's turn? I think maybe I'll rename this to player 1 is up. Because it's always going to be player 1 when you first enter the heist. But then this would be so now it'll print, it'll change instructions with the player who's up. I guess we should restart our elapsed time. Because I'm trying to figure out where where else this gets reset. Yeah, where is elapsed time get set? To 0. Oh, right, if they're done moving. Okay, well that's one place, but so at the very beginning, when we first entered the state, it's 0, and that's it. So that was kind of an issue because, well, I guess the reason why that would be okay is because once we finish, we go to the next transition state, and we automatically enter here. But now, we don't actually transition to the next state for a little bit because we iterate on the player, and this is outside the while loop. We've already finished, and we will not hit this the first time. So we will never transition to the next state. So what we need to do is we need to start this while loop over. Yeah, because nothing will start this coroutine over again. So actually, I'm thinking we need to put this maybe into the while loop. If we're currently in a heist, but that's when it ends. So we would need to say, yeah, when it ends, I guess we would just recall this state routine, I guess. So I guess, yeah, we would just say start coroutine, state routine. And that will automatically set that back to 0. And so then it'll run through again. It'll get to its end, and it will enumerate the player. We need to enumerate the rounds. So when do we enumerate a round? I guess we would change the round number once the current player. So I guess we would do that here actually. So we do need to keep the brackets on that. So current round number plus plus. And just for good coding practices, we'll make that equal. So basically when we get to the last player, we start back at the beginning and we count up the round. And then eventually we will be out of rounds and we will start over. That actually looks to be correct to me. This whole check if players are done moving right now, you can't basically end your turn early. If you take too long, it doesn't really stop you. So it's like purely, right now, this is purely like a text that pops up. It's like, hey, player 1, go, and then player 2, go, and player 1 could still be going. So we will need to like create an event. So we would say like to do make an event here that sends to mobile devices to block input of previous player and open up input for the player who is up. Sweet. And then on these transitions, so going back a little bit here, iterating, we just worked on that. With iteration, it updates the text, it restarts the timer, and then would send an event to say like, hey, let's make sure the phones know whose turn it is. And then equally so, we probably would want to send an event when we're done with the turns entirely. So I wonder if then we should just put the event in here, maybe just to keep it more readable. So do this. And then send devices to not allow any player inputs. Because now this would be like we're done, like the round's done. So okay, so that looks good. We transition next state. We're just updating the fill meter. Actually, just turning it off. We're turning the instruction text off, and then we play the state transition. These names are a little too similar, right? Transition, next state, play state transition. Probably should name those better. We play state over sound effect. We will wait for the length of that. And then here, this is the part that we're probably gonna have to tweak. So we have the voiceover and it is grabbing the instruction index is the current state. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, the instruction index, okay. So as long as that lines up, though what we want is we also want to be able to say, have a VO say player 2 is up. But I think that's okay. This will never play this, where'd it go? Play state transition. This won't play unless we get to here, which is at the very end of all the players' turns. So the downside is there is no kind of flash or VO or anything really super visually compelling until we go between states. This kind of in-between player iteration, it's probably going to need its own VO update. So to do, create a VO reference that declares what player is up. And then this event is what's going to actually make the gameplay respect the turns And then this here is going to make it more obvious when a turn happens, so you know to pay attention, which would be good. And then from there, the only thing that we have a couple to-dos in here, right? But the only other thing left really would be to make sure the player hasn't already gone. And if they have gone, make sure we wait a little bit so we don't kind of interrupt their special moment with a VO, right? It's like they're about to hit something cool. They launch near the end of their turn. They're on target to hit something great. And then the VO pops up like player 2 is up. It's like, wait, hold on, everybody. Like, watch mine. So that'll take some coding still. And that will ultimately replace one of these. Check if players are done moving. Cool. I am feeling like crazy tired tonight. I think after I've been doing like 2-a-day workout. So like I'll lift in the morning and then run in the evening. I've started to try to like have a couple days where it's only one or the other. But I think that on top of like streaming most nights, I am tired. So I'm going to call it. I might play some games. I haven't been playing games lately because of all the streaming. But it is fun showing y'all what I'm up to, and I do enjoy this time too. But my brain needs a break tonight. So if you hopped in, thanks for watching, and have an awesome